Good afternoon and welcome to a new webinar of Chili Publish. My name is Gerd. I'm account executive at Chili Publish, and I will be your host for today's webinar together with our guest Dominic. And today we have a very exciting and interesting topic to discuss. In the coming 30 minutes or so, we will talk about managing DAM and PIM data in a hyperspeed dynamic promotions. And after the webinar, we will open up for a Q&A session. And of course, the webinar will be recorded and will be made available to you. So without further ado, let's get into it. And I would like to start with welcoming Dominic. Dominic is Managing Director at For All Portal. So good morning, Dominic, and welcome here in Belgium. Good to have you with us. And to set the scene a bit, can you just quickly introduce yourself and For All Portal?
Thanks, Gerd. Thanks for welcoming me here in Brussels at the Chili Publish office. And of course, welcome to our webinar attendees. Yeah, my name is Dominic. I'm working for All Portal. And For All Portal is a centralized DAM and PIM solution that helps companies to centralize, enrich, manage, and maintain all the relevant assets and product data. Due to the flexibility of For All Portal, we don't really separate our services into industries, but serving companies from retail, healthcare, fast-moving consumer goods, and many more, and helping these companies to structure their data. We see the everyday challenges in not only maintaining the data, but also the challenges to publish the data to various channels. And publishing this structured data to this increasing number of channels at least requires a system, DAM PIM system like For All Portal, to manage the data, and of course a system like Chili Publish that supports these smart templates you need to publish the data. And therefore, I'm really happy to be here today at Chili Publish to talk about managing data for dynamic promotions.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for the quick intro, Dominic. Well, we've been working together for several years now on some really cool projects. And recently, actually, we strengthened our partnership as For All Portal has become one of the strategic Chili Publish partners. So that's really cool and helps our customers also probably move forward better. And listening to what you have just said, there are a lot of similarities between Chili Publish and For All Portal and the clients we serve. If I look at Chili Publish and our clients, we see a growing trend with our brand and agency clients. They have to deal with a growing range of products, bigger amount of personalized communications in a variety of channels. And typically what we see is the challenge of the artwork creation. This is very often a manual or semi-manual process, and it creates a heavy workload for the creation of all the variations a company needs, and it takes away valuable time and budget for the real creative part. And even if you look at industry reports, like from Gartner or from Cella, we see a similar trend. When they interviewed several marketing leaders, what their top biggest challenges are, and the top two are actually not enough time for creativity and not having enough resources and people to carry out the day-to-day work. And that's actually nothing new to us. We see that the traditional way of working really takes time. It requires sometimes massive budgets, and it also holds certain risks. And this is all because of this, let's call it the traditional design process, where and I think the whole audience is familiar with this process, where you typically start with describing in a design brief what the document should look like. The designer starts creating the designs in dedicated desktop tools, needs to go through certain approval cycles, etc. And at a certain point of time, you have an approved design. And then the actual production work starts. It has nothing much to do with creativity, but it's repurposing existing designs and making them available for different markets, different sizes, different languages, different challenges. You know, we call those isations. That last part is really where Chile can help and make a difference to optimize that process, reduce the cost, and quick time to market. You know, that's a bit what we see when we talk to customers. Do you have any similar experiences in that?
Yeah, I totally agree to what you just said. And also from our experience, we see that a lot of time is spent by marketers and graphic designers with manual work, creating campaigns, promotions, InDesign documents, and so on. But the time is not only spent by creating the templates. I mean, of course, it's time consuming, all the variants that needs to be created. But in this changing market where companies struggle to handle the huge amount of data in ever increasing output channels, talking about multi-channel marketing, we also see that a lot of time is spent for handling the data that you need for this template creation, for this variant creation. Because a lot of companies struggle with one of the biggest questions: where does the data come from? I mean, I need data, I need product data, I need images, I need data that I put on my brochure, my flyer, my documents. And where does the data come from? Well, some of them would say it's an Excel sheet, but that's not what it is about, right? You need different images, for example. So talking about print and web, you need just different image sizes. You need different prices for different regions for your products. You need probably contact information for retailers, dealers, company information, descriptions of your products, and so on. And you have an increasing amount of data sources to handle all that. You have an ERP system, you have CRM system, you have probably marketing research where you get the text and the descriptions from. You have a lot of departments and people involved in this data handling process. You have product management, marketing, sales, all these departments and people, they all are dependent to create the data and to work with the data and to receive the data at the end. And the most important thing, all the data that we talk about needs to be up to date and approved. So you need to be allowed to use the data because the data is correct. And if you don't have a system where you can structure the data, you have repetitive work, not only for creating the template, but also for getting all the data together. You probably use old or outdated data for your products. So you have a high error potential. And of course, you have a long time to market for new products, new documents, social media ads, and so on. And one of our clients that we work with, it's a power tool company in Germany. They reduced the time they spend for maintaining the data, so just maintaining the data that they use for the print outputs by 70% by using a centralized DAM PIM system for portal instead of manual Excel sheets. So we're not talking about the print output. It's just 70% reduction for maintaining the data.
Okay. So talking about this this power tool company, I mean, as you said, they've been able to really structure the data in Flow Portal, and of course, that data then needs to be used to publish in a variety of documents, and this could be offline, for print, but it could also be online for digital. And in the past, each of these variants or variations were really separate files or separate documents or separate InDesign files. So we've also been working with them to really simplify and automate that process. And simplifying in Chile Publish means that they started working with the Chile Publish smart templates. So we do not have enough time today to go into all the details of smart templates, but there are some very interesting resources and white papers to be found on our website on that topic. But in short, smart templates allow you to define what a user can do with the document, from very, very simple restrictions to complete guidelines, either branding or regulatory. And smart templates also allow multiple output in a variety of sizes or output channels based on one single template. So this brings massive benefits to companies in creating and managing their documents, resulting in a faster go-to market, reduced creation costs, etc. Together with you guys, for all portal, we handled this automation part. So we use the structured data of For All portal to drive the output creation as a true creative automation. So regardless of output channels, sizes, market, languages, output is always correct. Correct from a branding point of view, because that's what we do, and also correct from a product information point of view. That's basically the data you provide.
Yeah, exactly. Connecting For All portal and Chili Publish gives you, of course, the possibility to handle the data and to create all the different variants automatically. But let's take a step back. A couple of minutes ago, you mentioned the creation process of the template. So what happens when a designer is creating the template before the template is ready to use? There's a process behind. And of course, if you work in an environment with DAM PIM and Chili Publish, you shouldn't do this process manual. So the designer needs a workflow to create the template. He needs a system that supports him creating the template. Of course, he needs to do some design work and some creative work, but having the template in the DAM system gives him the possibility to use things like version control, approval workflows, and all functionality the DAM system offers to handle the template. And of course, at one point, the template is ready to use. It's approved, it's ready to use, and you are allowed to put data on. But it's working with a system to handle the template. It's not only the template that you can handle. You also can handle the assets that you are allowed to use on the template, the product data that you are allowed to use on the template, the retailer information. So you can handle all the data and the approval of the data in a system like For All portal. So you can see approved data, you can start approval workflows if you change data, for example. You can create a task and assign users if you need new assets. For example, if you create a template and there's an asset missing or an image missing or a logo missing, you can create a task and assign a user. As I just mentioned, things like version control, usage rights, who's allowed to edit the template, who's allowed to work with the template. So as you said, we don't have that much time to show everything For All portal is capable of doing, but just that the attendees get an idea of what you can do with a system like For All portal. And then at one time, the template is ready to use, and then it's time to put the data on. Then you take the template, and you can handle the template, as you can see here in For All portal, with all the approval things, version control that I just mentioned. So you are only allowed to access the approved and correct template, and then you can access the data that we can store in For All portal. So you have your template here. You have access to, for example, your product data here, and you just drag and drop the product data to the template. And there it is, with price information, image, description text, whatever kind of data you have. And just imagine, it can be any kind of product. It can be food, power tools, medicine, or whatever kind of data and products you have to manage at the moment. And it can be any kind of template. It can be brochures, flyers, coupons, mailing, social media ads, and many more. So you are not limited in the data you store, you're not limited in the templates you need. You're very free and flexible to use the data that you need for your templates.
Okay. Well, thanks for the very, very interesting intro and introduction to this. You've talked a lot about structured data, data changes, managing and maintaining, etc. And I'm just wondering, because obviously in a company there are changes to regions or pricings or product information, etc. How does that work in your workflow?
A very good question, and of course that's one of the points why you should work with a structured data in a system like ForPortal. Because prices, descriptions, images, and all the data you need for the template, and even the template, they can change during this creation or creativity process. Data can change while the campaign and the product is created, and data can change afterwards when you have just created the output documents. And especially in fast-moving consumer goods, you just change prices every day. But when you manage the data in a consistent and centralized system like ForPortal, you won't change the data in the template or in the output channel. You change the data in ForPortal, or sometimes you change data in the ERP system, and that gives the data to ForPortal. And then the Chili Publish document will automatically be updated when they use data that has changed since the last time it was used.
Okay, so actually, basically, you could say that ForPortal is not only a DAM or a PIM, but you can really classify it as the single source of truth.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we always try to point out. You need this single source of truth. You need to create the so-called golden record for your product data. And therefore, I mean, I mentioned it a couple of times, but it's not only about assets and product data. In ForPortal, you can have even more data in place. You can store all the data that you need in ForPortal. So assets, product-related data, but as I said, contact details for mailings, company informations, company-related prices and discounts for your coupons. And yeah, a lot of data that you can handle in ForPortal can be used. So it's not only the single source of data for the products, it's also a single system for the different departments working with a system like that. Because the designer is wrapping the template, but product manager is searching for product-related content, product-related assets. The marketing manager is searching for ready-to-use templates, approved assets, and all kind of data that you can store in the system can be searched and handled and maintained there. So at the end, you will have all the data and information you need just in one place.
Okay. Well, thanks for your insights, Dominic, on this. And unfortunately, we're getting slowly towards the end of today's webinar. And now you might think, what does this mean for me, or how would this work for us? We heard about this power tool company and the results they have achieved. Some other examples are, for instance, a chemical company who reduced operational costs by 90%, or a large beverage company who achieved a 7-figure saving over a 3-year period, or an NGO organization who went from 400 editable documents to 7 smart templates. Now, every company and every organization, of course, is different. So is each of the people in the audience. And we are more than happy to work with you and to help you to get an insight of your processes and your potential savings. You can reach out to us to do that. Our contact details will come in on the slides. If you want to do a bit of homework yourself already as a bit of a preparation, think about things like how many documents or variations do you have? And a variation is a language, a size, a product, a market, a channel. And the multiplication of these might surprise you, but those are really your variance. And if you know the average time spent on a variation, you can easily calculate the total time spent and the associated cost to that. So imagine what that will bring to your company if you could really drastically reduce those in terms of time to market, process efficiency, reducing errors, saving costs, etc. I mean, the potential is really, really amazing, and there is potential for everybody, for each company out there. Dominic, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you just mentioned some impressive figures, and of course, examples where you can save time and money, and you can just adapt that to For All Portal as well. There are a lot of benefits that you can have working with a system like For All Portal. And as I just said, creating this single source of truth helps you to centralize and structure your data. And therefore, you can manage your data channel neutral, so that you can use all the data you store in web, in print, in different variants and formats. And when you have data that requires channel-specific content or language-specific content, so for example, if you have a description for web and print, in web you are not limited in terms of wording, because you can just scroll down on your website or your web shop. But in print, you are probably limited to a 1 or 2 pager, so you can't have large text blocks in there. So if you need to store channel-specific content, you can use dimensions in a proper DAM and PIM system to store this data, or even language-related content. So there are different language flavors in different countries. So I mean, we are here in Belgium, we have France, Netherlands, all of them speak German, but all with a different flavor. Or in Switzerland, they speak different languages, and you need to store all the data, language or locale specific, and this is what you can do in a system like that. And when you do so, and when you really focus on creating this data structure and this single source of truth, you get greater control of your data. You have more efficient workflows. You have less manual work, less data chaos, less errors, and of course you have a lot of cost and time savings and a much faster time to market.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Dominic, for your final takeaways on this. So I would suggest to open up Q&A and to see if there are any questions from the audience.
Yeah, perfect. All right, I can see that there are already some questions coming in. Okay. So let's start and answer them. The first question is, sounds like a really cool thing. How do I start such a project, and how to set up a project like that if I only have one system in place? Yeah, I think that's a really good question, but it of course depends a little bit on what kind of system you have in place, because if you have a PIM in place and you need dynamic templates and probably only assets related to the template, and or the other data is coming out of your PIM, it's a complete other approach as if you have Chili Publish in place and you need the structured data to create this template
creative automation.
Creative automation. So it's not easy to answer this question now without knowing what system you have in place. So I would suggest reach out to us, tell us what kind of system you already have in place, and then we are more than happy to answer your questions and of course to help you setting up the missing systems, right? Okay, perfect. The next question is, can I use my InDesign templates to put the data on?
Okay, that sounds more like a question.
That's
for me,
more a question for you, Gert. Exactly.
Okay, that's the short answer will be yes, but there's a bit more explanation to it. The thing is, you can use InDesign files or InDesign documents as a base, As probably the whole audience knows that InDesign or Illustrator files are not files you can use in a browser-based application. So there needs to you need to do something to these files to use them. We supply plugins for both, and we convert basically InDesign files to Chili Publish files. And with the conversion, we really take into account everything which has already been set up in InDesign. So we understand all the concept of paragraph styles, character styles, fonts, color swatches, layers, etc. And we will convert them. And then actually you have in Chili really a one-on-one results to the InDesign file. And then is basically where the whole fun starts, because that is typically, I mean, in InDesign is a creative design tool, and that's what it's meant to be. We have similar capabilities, but on top of that, obviously, we can put our intelligence layers, as we've discussed in the webinar, and also create the connections to different systems. So in that respect, yes, you can use InDesign files. Obviously, you need to convert them and then add the power of Chili to it, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, and I think at the end, it's people and the attendees need to experience on their own the differences between InDesign and Chili Publish, because I mean, I work with Chili Publish and I know the differences, and I know that Chili Publish has some cool features that InDesign does not support. We just talk about dynamic templates the whole time, and this is a really, really cool feature that I personally like about Chili Publish, what InDesign does not offer. So yeah, again, feel free to contact Gerd to experience Chili Publish on your own.
Perfect.
Okay, another question is, what does structured data mean, and how do I approach structured data when I have data chaos and product data using different files, tools, and locations?
Yeah, that's a very specific question.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we do in our daily business. We experience that a lot, that companies reach out to us and say, we have chaos in our product data. We store data in Excel files, in file drives. We have some data in the ERP system, but not all data. It's just the technical data. Marketing related data is in the InDesign documents. The shop related data is in the web shop. So you have all these different channels where you store data, and this is where the structured data comes in place, where you say you need to define a data structure that speaks your language, but that is also capable of handling your data and preparing your data in a way that you can spread it out to various channels. So therefore, you need to structure the data. You can't work with different formats and files and locations. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It will be a mess. It will give you data chaos at the end. But to be honest, it's again not easy to answer this question. What I can say from my point of view is you need consultation. You need consulting in structuring your data. So you need to reach out to someone like us, like For All Portal or other DAM PIM vendors, and they can help you creating your data structure that speaks your language, but that is flexible enough to grow with you in the future. And I think it's not only about the structure, it's also about handling the templates, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I lost you somewhere.
No worries, no worries. But we talked about that earlier, that we have like 50 templates in place, and using dynamic templates, you only have probably 4 or 5. But reusing the data, and I think that this is also, if you have 50 InDesign documents and 50 different versions, you also have data chaos in your templates.
You have data chaos, and obviously InDesign files are typically also maybe, well, in best case scenarios, they are stored maybe on some kind of a network drive or whatever, but they're not centralized, so it's very difficult to find versions over versions over versions. So that also results in data chaos, but it's then more on the creative side. So also working with Chili also helps you to overcome that, because you really work on centralized designs and centralized templates, And then I mean, even connecting then a DAM or a PIM to that makes it even more powerful to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, there are even more questions coming in, but as we are running out of time, Gerd, I think we will go through the questions afterward, and we try to answer all of them.
Yeah, so we'll get back to you and answer all the questions on a personal note. And again, if maybe in the next days or so still questions arise, or maybe it dribbles in a little bit, please feel free to contact us. We're more than happy to help. With that, I think thanks, Dominic, for being with us today. Thank the audience for the attention, and I wish everybody a very nice day.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and hopefully talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.